You are Locked On Clippers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome in once again to the Locked On Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Nice win tonight for the Clippers. Wasn't pretty, wasn't dominating over a 23-win team, but it was nice. They did a lot of good things. So I come away from this one feeling good. Not great, but good. They did a lot of the fundamentals right. We saw some guys get going that had not been going, like Bogdanovich had a nice night from beyond the arc. The defense was good, not great, but good. And all in all, I feel like there's some hope that, we can figure this out and put it together. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers Postcast is brought to you by Robinhood. Or is it FanDuel? DoorDash. Let's say FanDuel. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Well, we need to start with one correction from the show a couple nights ago. Jonathan was in the chat and was the only one in the chat and was firing from the hip throughout the entire program. We disagreed on a few things about the way that game went in Detroit. Jonathan made a comment that he thought the Clippers showed a lot of effort. I misread his comment. I said, I agree with you, Jonathan. They did not show a lot of effort. I'm not changing my feeling. I believe they did not show great effort. He disagreed with that. He thought they did show great effort and felt slighted that I misquoted him. So there you go, Jonathan. You believe they showed effort. I'm still not going to agree with you on that one. I thought the effort was garbage a couple nights ago. Tonight, way better, way better. Now, look, we need to give credence to the fact that Kawhi played. He didn't play the whole game, though. How weird was that? What the hell's going on there? Kawhi's not on the floor in the final minutes? Are we still dealing with this stupid minute restriction? Played 33 minutes. You're not going to have Kawhi Leonard on the floor in a tight game? It's not a must win or anything, but it's a 3-game losing streak you're trying to snap. I feel like, it's fairly important that they get this win. It's kind of a head scratching move there. He played well in his 33 minutes, 6 of 14, 3 threes for 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, only 3 turnovers. Very complete game for Kawhi Leonard. So that in and of itself takes the Clippers to another level. Still no Norm Powell tonight, which is unfortunate. Would have been nice to have him on the floor. I think if he does play, this game is considerably more one-sided in favor of the Clippers. Derek Jones, a fantastic night. 23 minutes, 6 of 9, a couple of threes, 16 points, 4 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, but brings a defensive presence with a ton of energy, and having him on the floor makes the Clippers a better team. Kind of like Chris Dunn, 27 minutes tonight, not a ton of points, 5 in all, but 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. So he definitely brings that defensive energy. And James Harden leading the way for the Clippers tonight. A good night, 30 points, 9 of 20. So right around 50%, a notch below, 7 of 14 from beyond the arc, including the dagger, which gave the Clippers a comfortable lead in the final seconds of the game, and perfect at the line, 5 of 5, 6 assists, and only 6 turnovers, which is a good number for James Harden. One thing I really liked tonight, because Bogdan was playing well, they kept him on the floor in crucial periods late in the game. He had 4 threes in all, 4 of 5 from distance tonight. Coming into this game, he was 2 of 20. An atrocious performance a couple of nights ago, 1 of 12 from downtown in downtown Detroit. So I'm glad that he continued to fire and didn't get, gun shy, if you will. And I knew that he would find it. Shooter's going to shoot, and he's a shooter. So that was good to see. And if that guy gets going and finds a role and confidence, he's definitely going to be big for this Clippers offense. But I liked the team's makeup, the rotation at the end of the game with Bogdan running the point. Put Harden at the 2 or the 3. Bogdan moves the ball. He passes. The ball was moving tonight. That was so nice to see. Not just standing there looking for a shot. Fratello brought it up. He didn't do it every time that Harden would just dribble over the half-court line and fire, but he did late in the game, and he said, here's the problem with what Harden is doing right now. He's dribbling over, taking the first open look that he has, and what that does is it gives the Chicago defense a break because the look was an air ball. I don't even think it was touched. He fired a 3 from the wing that didn't hit anything. And the defense is like, thank you very much. Let's go back down and score. You got to make the defense work in these close games late in the game, and Harden's not doing that when he's firing threes. Granted, look, I know he won the game, and I'm not afraid of him shooting the ball. Not at all. I love it when Harden shoots the ball, but I don't love it when he dribbles over the line and takes the first open look that he has. Got to move the ball more. It's not that they never move the ball, but you got to move it more. When Bogdan was running the point, they were moving the ball. Something else Jonathan and I disagree on. Harden is better when he makes quick decisions with the ball rather than pound ball or ball pound. Not exactly sure what that means. The quick decision of what? Coming over the half-court line and firing? No, I agree. He's a great catch-and-shoot guy, for sure. He was great tonight cutting to the basket. Jonathan made a good comment before we even started. Death by backdoor cuts. Absolutely. And guess where those cuts come from? Ball movement. If you move the ball, guys are going to cut to the basket and get a pass and score. If Harden dribbles over the half-court line and fires, all that cutting doesn't matter. It becomes irrelevant. And what does it do to those guys that are working hard off the ball? It gets them tired and discouraged. They're like, I'm going to run around here, and Harden's going to fire. So, it's a fine line of what I'm saying about my issue with James Harden's game. I don't have a problem with him shooting. I have a problem with him shooting without moving the ball. Move the ball, and if you get it back or you get a rebound and you've got an open look, fine, take it. They're not going to stop passing you the ball. We all know you can score. But when the ball gets stuck in James Harden's hand and everyone else is standing around, it just squashes the momentum and rhythm and the ball movement. So it wasn't terrible tonight, but it did happen. And I guess it's always going to happen. So you're always going to have to listen to me bitch about it. Because I don't know that, that's what Harden really wants to do when he's at the point. I don't know that he really wants to move the ball. I think he likes the one pass or I'm going to try to get fouled and fire up a deep 3. But tonight, he was cutting to the basket, penetrating, getting passes. That kind of James Harden is nice to see. That is good, right? Where he can be dynamic and play from beyond the arc and in the paint. The floater. We all love the floater. And it's a pretty effective shot for him. The knuckler doesn't miss it very often. He does on occasion. And I think we get frustrated and surprised because he makes it so frequently. But good game for him tonight, all in all. Some spurts where I got frustrated, but with Bogdan out there or Ben Simmons. How about Ben Simmons' game tonight? We'll talk about that after the break. Clippers win tonight, snapping a 3-game losing streak. In Chicago, they beat the Bulls 122-117. Now 19-5 over their last 24 at the United Center. Have a good run going on there in Chicago. I'm Pete Fox. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast brought to you by Robinhood Gold. You can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, Your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3% plus. You also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national saving average. The perks of the high net worth are now available to any net worth. The new gold standard is here. Robinhood Gold to receive your 3% boost on any or on annual IRA contributions. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. All right, Clippers improved to 32-26, 13-16 on the road in a 122-117 win over the Chicago Bulls, who are now 23-16. Ben Simmons did not start. He played 18 minutes, very effective minutes, 3 of 8 for 6 points, but he had 4 defensive rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds for 8 total, and 8 assists, which was really nice. He was looking to move the ball, and as I am a fan of that. So I think Ben Simmons is going to be, if not is already, a factor, a contributor. I was kind of curious as to why they made that move. It was a bit head scratching, but what we've seen so far, if he's out there, it's been good. He's contributing. He's buying in. He's playing hard. He can do a little bit of everything. He plays defense. He could score. He's willing to facilitate. And when he was out there moving the ball, not at the point, I mean, he'd stand at the elbow and kind of just find an open guy. He was making good passes and everyone was flowing. The ball was moving. It was just nice to see. So I was happy with that. And I feel like Ben Simmons is going to be a nice addition. Another point we talked about a couple nights ago, not at length, but maybe something that I didn't give enough credence to as to why they got their butts kicked in Detroit is what is going on? Are we back? Okay. Sorry about that. Internet glitch. This team is got a bunch of new players on the team, and the bench rotation is trying to figure out who they are, and the starting rotation for that matter as well. I feel like it's fairly set the way we look at it tonight with Kawhi and Harden, Chris Dunn, Zubats, and Derek Jones Jr. Those guys are all out there. When Norm is out, I think we probably see Derek Jones coming off the bench, but that's an obvious switch and swap, and it makes complete sense. But all in all, the rotation is starting to come to clarity, and we're starting to feel better about what we're seeing from this team. And as they try to figure out how the new guys are integrated and so forth, it was kind of interesting tonight that without Norm Powell, they had a 10-player rotation going, which is very, very deep. So there have been times this season when I've looked at what Ty Lue is doing with the bench and the rotations in general, and I haven't loved it. It kind of feels to me like it's very, let's just throw it out there and see what happens. And quite frequently, it works out okay for spurts. I think that has a little bit to do with what goes on at the end of quarters for the Clippers. Better tonight, much better than a couple of nights ago in Detroit, giving up runs, although they did give up a 5-0 run at the end of the half. They had a nice little comfortable lead there, and it was 8-3 in all and 5-0 right at the very end as the Bulls grabbed a 1-point lead at the break, 60-59. Yes. So this was Jonathan's point from a couple of nights ago. That was my point from the other day. The bench has a complete overhaul and needs time to kind of find their way and get comfortable with each other and find a rhythm. Do you think, Jonathan, that we're doing that? Like that they're coming together and finding a rhythm and becoming comfortable with each other? Because I do. It's still got a ways to go, But when you got Bogdan and Ben Simmons coming off the bench with Amir Coffey, who, by the way, was awesome tonight, 27 minutes, 7 of 11, a couple of threes, 20 points. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. But yeah, 20 points for him, only missing 4 shots is a big night. Yeah, so the bench to me, as we get closer to the playoffs, it's got to be a little tighter. We might see fewer minutes from Batum because he's an old man. Come in a specific spot, try to hit a 3 here or there. He's a grinder. He works hard. If somebody's in foul trouble, you bring Batum in potentially. But, if you've got Norm Powell on the floor and you got Derek Jones coming off the bench along with Ben Simmons and Bogdan Bogdanovic, along with Amir Coffey, that's a 9-player rotation. That's deep for the playoffs. And that doesn't even include Drew Eubanks, who I feel like they're going to use to spell Zubats. So can we envision a 10-player rotation in the playoffs? That would be surprising. I don't know who you sit of those guys. You don't sit if Simmons continues to play the way he is. Maybe you limit his minutes. I don't know. You got to keep him out there. And if Bogdan keeps shooting even close to this, you got to keep him out there. And obviously we're going to keep Coffey in the game because we know Amir Coffey. We know what he's capable of. He plays defense. He plays hard. He passes the ball. He shoots. He scores. He does a little bit of everything. So I think it's going to be interesting. And Ty Lue and his staff definitely have their hands full looking forward towards the playoffs as to how this team and the bench rotation comes together. Tonight, it all looked good, but again, it's the Bulls. They're not a great team, and they had some guys that were scoring. They have some nice players. Zach Collins is a nice player, 38 minutes, 8 of 14. He had 21 points. Of course, Josh Giddey can fill it up, 8 of 14 tonight. Perfect from downtown with 21 points. He was 4 of 4. Kobe White's a heck of a player, 4 of 11 from distance, but 7 of 16 from the floor for 19 points. Lonzo played well, 6 penetrating out to the perimeter to get in the way of guys shooting three. A couple of times he got burned by a shorter, fast up, and that was a little scary at times for the Clippers. I thought, there's a chance that they let this one slip away, and I felt like, that would be just an unforgivable loss with Kawhi back on the floor and Harden playing well. You got to win these games against inferior opponents with sub 500 records. I know they're on the road and it's been a long losing streak and a long road trip, not extremely lengthy, but I felt like they played with good energy tonight, and didn't really have that look of smelling the barn, excited to get home back to LA for a doubleheader against the Lakers, which is going to be interesting. Friday and Sunday, I believe, are the back-to-back against the Lakers coming up. Jonathan thinks that Kawhi sat out at the end of the game because he's getting ready for the Lakers. Let's hope so, man. The Lakers are going in a different direction than the Clippers are right now. They're ascending when the Clippers are descending, or at best treading water. We have not done the bucket list tonight. Let's do it real quick here before we wrap up and before the internet craps out again. For number 5, Kawhi had a catch and shoot three at the 4:55 mark of the first quarter. It made it 18-12 Clippers. His first shot going in is always nice to see. For number 4, Coffey had a nice finish. Just came at the 11-11 mark of the fourth, just penetrating hard to the rack. Again, Coffey finished with 20 points tonight, so a really big performance for him off the bench. That made it 193 Clippers. For number 3, Harden had a three at the 3:13 mark of the third to make it 89-85, and then another one a little over a minute later, 95-87. The Clippers got really hot right there at the end of the third. They went on a 10-2 run. Bogdan was filling it up. Kawhi was filling it up. The only problem with that little stretch right there, Bogdan turned the ball over twice. He made a couple threes and then turned the ball over twice. And it's like, come on, let's keep a hold of the ball. For number 2, Ben Simmons had a really nice hook shot at the 10:02 mark of the fourth. Some old school Kareem basketball there with the hook shot, 102-93 the score. Then Kawhi had a deep three late in the clock. I mean, he was a good 5 or 6 feet beyond the arc. That was at 6:30 of the fourth, 110-102 the score after that. And then James Harden hit the dagger in the final seconds of the game to give the Clippers a 122-117 win. And again, Kawhi played 33 minutes, had 17 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, and 4 steals. So a really well-rounded, complete game for him. Derek Jones in 23 minutes, 6 of 9 for 16 points As we said, Zubac's 10 points, 10 boards. James Harden, 30 points to lead all scorers, 7 threes out of 14 shots, 9 of 20 from the floor. He had 6 assists and 6 turnovers. And Chris Dunn, 27 minutes, 5 points. Off the bench, Batum had no points, but he played 17 minutes. Eubanks played 4 minutes, scored 4 points. I think that's a pretty good night. As we said, Ben Simmons, big night, dishing the ball. He had 6 points and 8 assists. And Bogdan hit 5 field goals out of 7 shots, 4 of them threes. So he went 4 for 5 from downtown. The second unit off the bench was really, really good. They all were in plus figures in the plus minus category, whereas all the starters were in minus. So you could say the bench won this game for the Clippers. 14 for Bogdan and 20 for Amir Coffey. As for those other numbers we look at from time to time, biggest lead for the Clippers, 12. Biggest lead for the Bulls, 5. This game was tight throughout. The lead changed 17 times, and the biggest run was an 11-point run there for the Clippers. As for points in the paint, Chicago won that category, 48-38. The second chance point, Chicago dominated there, 19-7. And as for the fast break points, also very one-sided in favor of Chicago. So I don't know if you look at that and say Clippers got lucky to win this game, or ultimately it was a really nice win because a lot of the stats were not in their favor. Fast break points, 22-6 in favor of Chicago over the Clippers. So the fact that they pulled this one out, and, I don't know that we were ever terribly worried that it wasn't going to come through for LA. It got a little tight down the stretch there in the final minute. I believe it was a 2-point ball game, but then Kawhi hit that 3 to ice it, 122-117, the final. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for bearing with my crappy internet tonight. I apologize for that. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Back at it again on Friday for Lakers, Clippers. Of course, we will be doing that as a crossover. Dave Palais, who does Locked On Lakers postcast. So we'll be on together breaking that game down for you on Friday night. Lakers, Clippers, I believe that is their third matchup of the season, and this one will be at crypto.com and will tip at 7:00. It's Locked On Clippers postcast. Thank you for watching and listening. Appreciate you guys. We will talk again on Friday. Have a